Hello everyone, I'm Vanessa, and today I wanted to share some Spooktober TBR recommendations and some other really fun readathons that are going to be happening in October. So Spooktober is only a few days away and we have all of these readathon challenges about to start. And obviously we do not expect anyone to do all of these challenges at all. It's kind of just pick and choose which ones you want to do. But we know that, a lot of people are going to want to complete as many as they can. So we did post on Twitter a list of recommendations for books that, they're kind of power picks. They cover a lot of challenges. So I figured that I would share those on here just in case anyone is still working on their TBR. And then after that, I also want to take a few minutes to shout out some of the other awesome readathons that are happening in October. Obviously, the spooky month is super popular and there are so many cool and creative readathons happening. So I definitely wanted to talk about some of those in case there are some that you haven't heard of and that you really want to do, so that we can all just have like the most exciting October ever. So some books that I thought would be really good Spooktober picks, really powerful choices. First of all, The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This covers at least 6 challenges and probably even more because some of the challenges are really subjective. So I didn't include them, like a cover you've been eyeballing or a book that someone warned you about. Those are things that are personal to you. So the books on this list could cover many more challenges than just the ones I have listed on here. Anyways, The Year of the Witching obviously can cover a ton and it looks and sounds amazing. The tagline for this book is, "A young woman living in a rigid, puritanical society discovers dark powers within herself in this stunning feminist fantasy debut." Another great choice for Spooktober would be Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I mean, this is a gothic themed novel set in Mexico. What more could you want? The tagline says, "An isolated mansion, a chillingly charismatic aristocrat, and a brave socialite drawn to expose their treacherous secrets." Then we have Cemetery Boys, which I think just came out in September, so it's brand spanking new. Everyone is still really hyped up about it and it sounds really good. It basically says that when his traditional Latinx family has problems accepting his gender, Yadriel becomes determined to prove himself a real brujo. And he apparently summons a ghost and then can't get rid of the ghost, and it just, oh my gosh, it sounds so fun. Another one that I put on this list, even though I think it's a little bit older, I thought it sounded really good. I'm gonna be reading this for Spooktober. And that is The Girl from the Well by Rin Chipeko. From what I've read, this is based on, kind of the traditional Japanese ghost stories and stuff like that. The description on Goodreads says, "A dead girl walks the streets. She hunts murderers, child killers, much like the man who threw her body down a well 300 years ago." And like I said, it covers at least 4 challenges, at least. Another book that I found that I thought would be really cool for Spooktober is Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee. I think this is more a fantasy. I don't think this is necessarily like scary or spooky, but it had some kind of like spooky tones to it, so I thought it still fit. The tagline for this says that danger lurks within the roots of Forest of Souls, an epic, unrelenting tale of destiny and sisterhood. I think this is a good option if you're not totally wanting to read like super like horror novels and stuff like that. The next book I have on here is Empire of Wild, and I believe this book is by an indigenous author and it's based around kind of cultural folklore. It says it is a stunning and sensuous novel inspired by the traditional Métis story of the Rougarou, I hope I'm saying that right, a werewolf-like creature that haunts the roads and woods of Métis communities. A messed up, grown-up Little Red Riding Hood. That sounds really, really good. Another kind of more lighthearted one we have on here is Mooncakes, which is a graphic novel, and it just looks really, really cute. It covers, I mean, I got like 5 challenges it can cover on here, and it's a graphic novel, super short, great pick for a readathon. And then another choice we have is Lobizona, which I have heard so many amazing things about, and it is also an absolute Spooktober powerhouse. 6 challenges at the minimum that this can cover. So this book says that it is about a young girl who is an undocumented immigrant who's on the run from her father's Argentine crime family, and eventually she starts investigating her family's past and she discovers a secret world buried within our own. A world connected to her dead father and his criminal past, a world straight out of Argentine folklore where the 7th consecutive daughter is born a bruja and the 7th consecutive son is a lobizon, a werewolf. Just saying, and 6 challenges. I'm not telling you guys what to do with your TBR, but I'm just throwing it out there. Another really amazing choice, which would cover 5 challenges at least, is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. And again, this isn't necessarily like a spooky horror novel, but it is a fantasy that has a lot of spooky elements to it. From the description, it has to do with like vengeful spirits and dark like resurrection magic, and the blurb says, the first in a fantasy duology inspired by West African folklore, in which a grieving crown princess and a desperate refugee find themselves on a collision course to murder each other despite their growing attraction. Again, I'm not telling you what to do for your TBR, but come on. Another book I have on here is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which I guess is kind of like a sci-fi horror novel about, I think they're going into the Marianas Trench? Maybe I could be very wrong about that. I don't know, I might have made that up. But either way, they're scientists that are going into like the deep ocean to make kind of a mockumentary about like ancient legendary sea creatures, and I guess I've heard that this is about like murderous evil mermaids, and that sounds really great. Also, I believe there's like LGBT romance and stuff going on. And on top of all of that, I have listed here that it would cover maybe 5 challenges, but when I posted this list on Twitter, one of my friends put in the comments that it was really boring. In my opinion, that means everyone can now use this book for the Ouija board challenge because someone has warned you that it wasn't good. We really just keep winning on Sbooktober. Another book we have on our recommendations list is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, and just to be clear, Stephen Graham Jones is a Native American author. And this story also, I believe, follows kind of like cultural folklore and stuff like that. It basically says it follows 4 American Indian men after a disturbing event from their youth puts them in a desperate struggle for their lives. Tracked by an entity bent on revenge, these childhood friends are helpless as the culture and traditions they left behind catch up to them in a violent and vengeful way. Another good option for Sbooktober might be Anya's Ghost by Vera Brosgol, and this is a graphic novel. I think it might be a middle grade, I'm not entirely sure, and it is about a young girl who makes friends with a ghost, and the blurb says it is a spooky, sardonic, and secretly sincere book. Another one I found, which is more on the historical fiction side of things, but it seems like it still has some maybe like mystery and or thriller elements to it, is The Silence of Bones by June Her. And this is set in 1800 Korea, and it is about a 16-year-old girl who is helping the police solve like a murder mystery. I also put The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende on here. I'm currently reading this right now and it's really good. It's not scary or anything like that. It has, I think it's more of like a magical realism vibe. You know, there's some kind of like supernaturally things going on in the background, but mostly it is a family saga following generations of this family in, I wanted to say it's Chile, kind of covering like the political events and social events and stuff like that, kind of like the rise of Marxism and like all of the military coups and stuff like that. So it is really good, and I think it would be a good choice. It covers at least 4 challenges. Another book that could cover several challenges is White is for Witching by Helen Oyeyemi, and this book, it looks like it's set in kind of a spooky house with like some spirits. The little blurb says this is a spine-tingling tale that has gothic roots but an utterly modern sensibility. Told by a quartet of crystalline voices, it is electrifying in its expression of myth, memory, loss, magic, fear, and love. That's a lot. And then finally, the last recommendation that we posted on Twitter was for Conjure Women by Afia Takara. And this could cover, again, like minimum 5 challenges. So this is probably a really good pick. And it's also, I don't think, very spooky. I think it's more of a historical fiction kind of fantasy thing. It says it's about a mother and daughter with a shared talent for healing and for the conjuring of curses. It's set in the South and it kind of spans generations before and after the Civil War. And again, it can cover at least 5 challenges. So I think that would be a really fun pick too. So those are the Sbooktober TBR recommendations that I came up with. They are posted on Twitter. I will leave a link to that post down below if you are interested in checking them out. But besides that, I also really wanted to recommend some other October readathons in this video. October is such a fun and popular month for readathons because obviously everyone loves the spooky season, and there are just so many amazing people running amazing readathons this month. And again, I know that there are a ton in October, which is another reason why we try to keep Spooktober challenges pretty open-ended, so that, you know, if you want to do multiple readathons, you can mix and match and pick some challenges from Spooktober that match with other readathons and stuff like that. And it's something that I really encourage you guys to do because, like I said, there's just a lot of fun stuff going on. Also, all of these readathons that I'm mentioning will be linked down below in the description box, so that if you are interested in any of them, you can go straight over and check them out and follow them on Twitter. So I'm gonna go in like chronological order of, you know, when things start. The first ones that I want to talk about have actually already started. I believe when this video goes up, these ones probably started yesterday, if my math is right. I'm not totally sure, but there's still plenty of time in both of them if you want to hop on. The first one is the Tea Leaves Readathon, which is being hosted by the Tea Leaves Book Club. And this goes from the 27th of September to the 4th of October. And it is kind of just like a cozy fall autumn vibe, and it sounds really good. I believe there's only like 4 or 5 reading challenges. So again, there's still plenty of time if you want to hop onto this readathon. The other one that I want to talk about is from the 27th to the 10th of October, and that is the Nancy Drew Readathon. We love Nancy Drew in this house, and I was so excited to see that there's a Nancy Drew Readathon, and it looks so fun. Basically, it's organized like there are different mysteries that you have to solve, and every mystery has different challenges. So fun, like such a creative idea. And like I said, it's going until October 10th, so there's definitely still time for you to hop on that. And then we have a few that are starting later in October. The first one is the Black SFF-a-thon, which I am definitely planning on doing. It goes from the 18th to the 31st, and obviously it is about reading speculative science fiction fantasy novels by Black authors. And I just, friendly reminder here that horror counts as speculative fiction. So if you are planning on reading spooky books in October anyway, consider picking some up by Black authors. And there are a ton in the Spooktober recommendations list that I just gave you. And there are also a ton of other types of speculative fiction that would fit some of the Spooktober prompts. For example, I'm gonna probably read Black Leopard Red Wolf, which is based on folklore. So it counts for the superstition prompt for Spooktober and for the Black SFF-a-thon. Yeah, anyways, I think that's gonna be a great readathon, and I highly encourage everyone to check it out. And even if you don't check out that, I still really encourage you to be incorporating marginalized authors into your TBR and being inclusive in your reading. Another readathon I wanted to mention is the Boo-a-thon, which is happening from the 19th to the 31st. I love the Boo-a-thon. It's always so fun and so simple and just a really nice way to get into the October mood. And this year, Maddie made a bingo board for, or should I say a bungo board? It's so cute. It's just so cute. Another readathon that I always love is the Witchathon, and the Samhain edition of the Witchathon is happening this year from the 25th to the 31st. If you guys aren't familiar with the Witchathon, Reviv usually runs it for every, or at least most, of the pagan holidays. And again, this one is for Samhain, so the reading challenges will probably be representative of things that have to do with that holiday. There is also a readathon called the Horror-a-thon, which is going from the 25th to the 31st, which again is just a really great, you know, spooky October thing to participate in. And after that, we do have a bunch of other readathons that are going all through the month of October. Just like Spooktober is all month long, so are these ones. So the first one that I want to mention is Gothtober. Oh my god, and their artwork is just so stunning. And this is obviously a readathon based around Gothic literature. Another one that I really encourage you to check out is the Blackoween-a-thon. This was made by Locked Booktition, and you can just tell how excited for it she is and how much work she's put in. And obviously this is about lifting up Black authors who are writing in kind of spooky genres. Another readathon I wanted to mention that is going all through the month of October is the Disability Readathon. And again, I highly encourage you to check this out. I think that disability is something that we often overlook, you know, like in all of our pushes to read more diversely and be more inclusive, and that pretty much sucks. So I highly encourage you to go check out the Disability Readathon. And then the last month-long readathon that I want to talk about is the Goosebumps-a-thon. We love Goosebumps. Who doesn't love Goosebumps? And this one, they have different reading prompts for like the different kind of creatures that you could be. What's more fun in October than reading Goosebumps books? Alright, so those are all of the readathons that I wanted to mention going on in October. I'm sure there are plenty more. I'm sure that I don't have the entire complete list here, but these are just the ones that I have seen going on and that I think are really cool, and I'm going to try to also participate in. And again, they will all be linked down below. One other thing that I want to mention before we go is that one of our amazing Spooktober hosts, Kelly from Velvet Library, has actually just launched a book club, and it's about spooky books. It is called the Lamentable Library Book Club. So fun. Like I said, all of the books are going to be kind of spooky themed, and in October they are actually going to be reading Dracula, which is also a perfect Spooktober pick. If you ask me, I'm going to be reading Dracula in October for sure. So definitely go check out that book club if you want like a group of friends to hang out and read your spooky books with. And again, that will be linked down below as well, along with everything else. I think that is pretty much it for this video. I hope that your TBRs are going well and that you are getting super excited for all of your October reading. And I would love to hear from you in the comments. If you have any further recommendations to share with people, do so in the comments. You know, share whatever recommendation you have for everyone else too, and let's get some more, you know, October hype going. I hope that this video was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I get to talk to you soon. Bye!